Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P. Joe P's up here with my two best friends, the Welsh and Scott Bogman, and it's you with us hanging out on our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free, it's fun, and you can be part of the show. And, of course, we're going to get to all things football, a little fantasy. We've got a lot to talk about, some wagering stuff, some college football even. Now, I'm in a great mood today because the Mets signed Juan Soto, so it really doesn't matter that maybe I lost a bet this weekend to the Welsh, but I am a man of my word. I am a man of honor. So the loser for the Bears 49ers game bet had to paint their fingernails. And I did for you. I did the black and the orange. And as you can see here, the one in the middle here, Welsh, that one's a little signal for you.
Why is that middle finger a different color?
See, the middle one is a little bit of a different color, and I just wanted to send that out to you. It's just a little bit of
yeah. Is that for all the green that I made this week? All the mud I made?
Let's get a real close up on that one green one.
I don't know how much, we could do. It's for the money. That's what it is. I did the black where
it's all the money that I won, and the black is what, for all the negative that you said last week and how wrong you were? Is that what
it's for the dead coach bounce that didn't work? And that's very unfortunate. But hey, congratulations. The 49ers get to toy with you again. I didn't realize that the Christian McCaffrey Madden curse was not just for him, but for every 49ers running back, Welsh. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're just every single week, they're dropping like flies, dropping like your bets. 49ers running backs are kind of like you making bets with me. They don't last for more than a week and they're kind of out and gone. But I'm really happy that you fell through. I wish I did this bet with Erickson too, because Erickson, huge, big, stinky loser against me. So I'm just coming up wins this week. 49ers, money, you're nailed. Did you do both hands, by the way?
No, just the one. Just the one, because we ran from the other show to this one. I didn't have time. I was making sure I was here on time. But regardless, Bears stink. Welsh is the smartest man on the planet. So, look, I want you to have a win.
One more time for me. One more. Let me see it one more time.
I want you to have a win. Triangular. Middle one's for you, buddy. I want it to stand out. But seriously, it's been such a tough year for you for a 49ers fan that this is nice that you could have this. That this is the crown jewel of your moment. Boggs, why does Georgia own your Longhorns? What's going on here?
Ooh. Yeah, it's the offense for Texas. Might be in the quarterback position. Ooh. So we might see. Remember when we saw Tua come in the middle of the national championship? Might see Arch at a start.
Hey, Boggs, did you paint your middle finger too for Joey?
You want to see it?
All right, let's get after it. Let's talk about a big number here from Josh Allen. Now, they lost, and I tried to warn everybody this is going to be possibly one of those weird games where, the Rams were sandwiched in between the 49ers in your own building in the snow, primetime game, and then the Lions this week. And in between was the Rams, and I just felt like that was a bad situation here where maybe the Buffalo Bills might find themselves in a little bit of a trap, and they did. But Josh Allen, my goodness, the stat line was unreal for Josh Allen yesterday. 50 burger. Boggs, I was unfortunate to be on the wrong end of one of those 50 burgers in a league. I'm already in the playoffs, thank God. But it was brutal, especially because I was beating the crap out of that person until the 50 burger drop. So did you have any Josh Allen opponents or shares to speak of?
I don't think I had any Josh Allen opponents, or if I did, I was already losing in that league. So, but I did have one league where I was already crushing and just added 51 points on top of it with Josh Allen.
So I had a Josh Allen team, and I had a Josh Allen against. I just want to give you guys a perspective here for a second. I've talked about this. I was in an FFPC championship this week.
Mm-hmm.
I went up against Josh Allen, Jordan Addison, George Kittle, Tyreek Hill, and doesn't matter who else. I think Jordan Addison and Josh Allen alone demolished me. Not even close.
That's a terrible combo. The Addison day was unbelievable, but it was, first, for perspective, the Josh Allen number, 51.88, the most ever by a quarterback in fantasy history in a game.
No way. Is that real?
Yeah.
It was the most by...
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of different ESPN fantasy put it out there.
Because you ran for 3.
Right.
And
because of the rushing for the 3.
Like,
I guess.
I think before
for 6 touchdowns, 3 were rushing, and it's the most fantasy points by a quarterback in a single game ever. And it's just because of how
Manning have like 600 yards and 6 touchdowns one game or something.
But I guess all the passing touchdowns.
but not the rushing and the running touchdowns on top of it. So, yeah, so he had 400 yards. So it's the structure of which he got those points, which is incredible. Now, here's a question I want to ask you guys. So they lost this week. Josh Allen's still by far the minus. It's an incredible statistical performance, right? So this helps him in the standings of the stats. But they get the Lions this week in week 15. If they lose to the Lions, is there any shine off the Josh Allen MVP rose, Welsh? What do you think?
I think there's a small possibility, but like, here's the deal though. Like when he loses, whatever you want to call that Rams game, like a letdown spot or whatever, you just said he put up like the most ridiculous fantasy performance. I know fantasy doesn't matter for that, but for real football, that was 6 touchdown game. When you lose those games and you still put up these massive big performances, you lose 2 straight. Maybe the shine comes up. Maybe it becomes like a little bit of a betting opportunity. I think it's really tough to end up getting a guy like Saquon Barkley taking it over regardless of his huge output. And I said 4 running backs since 2000 have won an MVP. I just don't think it's enough to take over Josh Allen.
All right, let's talk to Axel.
Hi,
Let's
Axel.
bring him up there. Axel, the Bears fan who was so miserable last week. I can't imagine life got any better for you this week, Axel.
Actually, it feels so much better to get blown out. You have no clue.
I always say that, Axel. I always say I would rather lose by 50 points than a half a point. Because to me, then you're always second guessing everything. It's misery. So another loss. Are you out of the playoffs?
How to get blown out.
Yeah, when we're down 24-0, I was just like, throw the ball. Who cares if we lose 60-0? Just slang the darn ball.
Oh, you're talking about their Bears. I'm talking about your fantasy teams. That's what I thought. Yes, the Bears have been done it for the wire, buddy. Like, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's not going anywhere. How's your fantasy things turning around? I know the Breece Hall trade you made. Obviously, that hasn't worked out. But were you able to salvage some playoff hopes here?
Yeah, well, I'm in 9 leagues, making 6 of them with 3 first-round buys.
So Axel's getting it done.
Any specific fantasy tools maybe help you get there?
Maybe, perhaps. I'm sure the My Playbook ones did. And by the way, everybody, at Betting Pros right now, you can also get the premium for 30 days using the promo code FPFree. Don't forget, do that because you got the college football stuff, you got the NFL stuff, you got NBA, you got everything going on right now. Savage is up with us too, one of our favorite people here on our Discord. Savage, what's going on? How was your Sunday? How was your playoffs looking?
As somebody who has Josh Allen in 2 very important leagues, I am riding high.
Yes, I would imagine you're feeling pretty good.
First round bye, number 1 seed in both.
Woo-wee! All right, so how are you looking for the rest of the playoffs here?
Every time I hear Savage, by the way, it's like CVS Derek Brown. I just always hear a version of Debro every time that Savage talks. Like, can we put a Debro picture up when Savage talks, please? Go ahead, Savage. Sorry.
I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, we kind of look the same.
Yeah.
See, that's funny. Are you a bald guy, Savage? All these years, I never picked you as a bald guy.
I am bald guy with a beard, little portly stature. I'm not as tall as him, I would imagine.
Oh, Derek Brown's not a very tall human. Welsh is a tall human.
He looks taller on the feed.
That's why he works.
He puts the camera down, so he looks like.
Yeah, that's why
he's sitting on a couple of the yellow pages, for the older people in the chat.
Well,
that's
Savage,
what it is.
I'm one of those people, Savage.
Yeah,
Hey,
be
man.
careful
There.
Yeah.
Joe and I are here.
Brother-
Let's not make fun of those
we're not
people.
tall.
Brother, I'm 5'4". I make fun of everybody.
So, Savage, I always knew I liked you, and now
All
the
right.
fact I know you're bald, I like you even more. So, that being said, any other grievances? I know you had some good teams and some good things with Josh Allen.
I actually wanted to come in front of all of you and ask if I did the right thing. I know you guys are going to say yes, but my league was a friends and family league, and it was very lenient on trading. We didn't have a trade deadline because everybody was trustworthy until this season. And a guy who was the dead last person in the league tried trading Derrick Henry for Tyjae Spears to his cousin. Now, I don't tolerate collusion in the slightest, so I gave both of them their money back because they are friends and said, have a nice day.
Yes.
Am I wrong for that?
No, you're not wrong.
Absolutely not. No.
Look, I always say this. Trade vetoes are the worst thing in fantasy leagues. The worst, because trades are always in the eye of the holder. You can make a trade, it looks good from one side, bad from the other. A week later, it looks completely different. We've seen that a million times, right? Imagine somebody who traded, I don't know, I mean, you traded DeAndre Hopkins and you got Jerry Jeudy. Well, guess what? That's been pretty good. If you got Jerry Jeudy, right? So a lot of it is eye of the beholder. In this scenario, it's clearly a collusion. And a great way to avoid this is to make a rule in your league that once a team is eliminated for the playoffs, they're not allowed to make trades anymore. And there shouldn't be late trades either, because this is what happens. You get late into leagues and people are like, hey, you're not going to win. Why don't you help me? That's a problem, Box. Like, that's one thing that I don't abide by. But trade vetoes always ruin leagues. However, the collusion, I think he did the right thing here. He just gave everybody their money back and he said, get out of my league, and you move on, which sucks, but I get it. Like, I think Savage did the right thing.
Yeah, no, I have a better idea, actually. I just want to point this out. I know how you fix this type of collusion. When it is decided, you don't kick the guys out. I think you make them pay a penalty, and then you Rochambeau. Which you do. The commissioner gets to Rochambeau both of those players until one of them falls, and then that person is kicked out, and the other guy gets to stay.
So literally kicking them out of the league. Do you get to wear steel-tipped boots, though, to do it?
What other type of boots do you have?
I don't know. I think that's...
That sounds, yeah. Those type of kicker boots, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Speaking of...
I think you Rochambeau.
All right. Speaking of kicking, Seattle Seahawks kicked again because they're the kings of the West out there in the NFC. Oh, I love it. I keep saying the same thing. They keep creating turnovers and it keeps changing the mojo of games, and they just keep on going. The Cardinals, I did not believe in for a second. And here we go. So, Boggs, is everybody else going to start believing in the Seahawks now finally, or no?
I don't know if I believe in Geno enough to carry them.
Okay.
And the Rams have a Super Bowl winning quarterback already on that roster. It just beat one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and they're still alive in the West. So the Seahawks defense has been much better as of recent as well. So I do think, they're sitting in the catbird seat. They're leading all that. I do think it's going to be Seattle, but I think the Rams are going to have something to say about this division.
All right.
Catbird seat?
Catbird seat.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It's a catbird seat.
I don't know. It's just an old phrase. That's when you're sitting up first and you have control of your destiny.
I thought you said the captain's seat, which makes sense, but
Catbird
Mike
seat.
went out. The catbird seat?
It's an idiom that describes, I'm going to read you the definition. It's an idiom, first of all. So you're going to have to look up that word, Welsh. But it's an idiom.
I'm an idiom.
I've been saying that for years. It's an idiom that describes a position of advantage or prominence. So there you go. Throughout technology boom in the 1990s, the company sat in the catbird seat. There's your way of using it. So there you go. So you learned something here.
I think
educational.
It's just a Southern thing, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh, all right. Well, here's the thing too, Welsh. So Seattle is 2.5-point underdogs this week at home to Green Bay. I kind of like Seattle in this game, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think Green Bay has that same feel about them last year where they were young and fun, whatever. They're kind of getting beat around a little bit here and there. I kind of think this is a difficult spot for them. And it's the Sunday night game, so I think that Seattle crowd with that division there right now for the taking, they're in first place. I think it's going to be live. I think it's going to be fun. And I think, once again, they're going to create another turnover that changes the dynamic of this game like they do every single week.
You say it's in Seattle?
In Seattle. They're underdogs in Seattle, 2.5. I'm in on the 2.5, baby.
I could buy that. Seattle's a really tough place to play. You know what I see more in this is I see these teams being a lot more well-rounded and close. Ironically, I think Seattle kind of looks like Green Bay. I mean, Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, lead back, 4 receivers. They can sling the ball down the field. That's what Seattle does. They look better with Charbonnet this week. They've got their 3 wide receivers. I actually might be with you as far from a betting perspective. I actually might take Seattle home under 3. I think that's a pretty good spot because I think this is a really well-rounded game. And there's going to be a lot of the fantasy interest. Will Jaden Reed bounce back? Can't be any worse.
I said Welsh, the funniest. It was a Peter Griffin meme of him with the shotgun saying, I just want to talk. And he's like walking towards Jen Reed.
And Joe said, that's you right now. I'm like, because that was FFPC. I couldn't come back.
It was 100% you. The Jets found a way to lose again. My cousin, she had a big parlay that had the Jets losing in it. And that was the last piece she needed. And they were winning in the fourth quarter and she was sweating. And I was like, don't worry, they'll find a way to lose. And sure enough, they did yet again. Unbelievable. How about those Jets? But Rodgers slinging the ball around. What'd you make of that split backfield, by the way, Boggs? I'm just curious about what your take. I think everybody was, Breece Hall is out. Let's all go to Braylon Allen. But it turned out to not necessarily be his backfield alone. In fact, it was...
I had Isaiah Davis starting the league this week.
And Isaiah Davis And Isaiah Davis could have had 2 touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown, but he dropped one. Well, it was kind of like, a bad throw. But he was real close to 2 touchdowns, which would have really, I think, stuck in the craw of a lot of people that had that Braylon Allen share that finally got used.
I thought Isaiah Davis was better than Braylon Allen coming out. I'm one of the guys that I was too low on Braylon for sure. I didn't think he had the speed to make it in the NFL. I thought he was going to be one of those goal line only type of backs, and he's proven to be way more than that. But Isaiah Davis has got some speed. He's got some size. He was a big factor for I think it was South Carolina State. So big running back. And I really like his skill set as well. He just played at a lower level, so he kind of got disrespected in the draft. And, didn't get a helmet either. They had a Banacanda on the roster as well, but he's pushed some good running backs off that roster and is now, eating into Braylon Allen. So
do you think he's
making his way right now?
Do you think he's only valuable when Brees is out, or do you think when Brees comes back, it's going to just be a disastrously messy situation? I mean, Brees would still start, but then Allen is moving back. Because I agree, Davis looked like, and they kind of treated him way more of the higher leverage situations. Davis it seems startable.
Why are they bringing Brees Hall back, Welsh? That's the thing. He's hurt. They got nothing to play for. You're a 3-win team. What's the point? I don't get it.
I don't disagree with it either. It's just, when a guy is healthy, he's going to get back out.
But if Brees was out next week, if you can only pick Davis or Allen, is that one game enough for you to start Isaiah Davis over Braylon Allen?
Well, it's against the typists too, boy. The Jaguars next week. Jaguars.
I think I probably would, because Isaiah Davis has scored touchdowns in back-to-back weeks, and he dropped that other one. So they are drawing up plays for him near the goal line. If we're going to be splitting, snaps and carries between these two guys, who's more likely to score? I feel like there's not too many guys in the league that are more likely to score than Braylon Allen from the one. He's enormous, but they've been drawing up plays for Isaiah Davis. So, I can easily see a scenario where I start Davis over Braylon Allen.
I think they're actually in a good spot against Jacksonville this week too. I don't like to say that very often. And for some reason, the Jets again are favorites this week. They've been favorites 10 times now this year, and they have 3 wins. I don't care. They've been favorites 10 times. They're on the road, and they're a 3-win team.
What's
Sorry.
the line?
The line for that one currently
3.
It's minus 3.5 on the Jets on the road. That's where it is.
I mean, get it down to 2.5 or 3. I'd smash the. Have you watched the Jags?
I've watched the Jags. You mean the Jags that just beat the Titans?
They would be relegated if we were opening this up like soccer. We wouldn't relegate that game.
That's fine by me. All right, let's go to T. He's up with us next on our Discord again, fantasypros.com/chat, so you can be involved in the shows and hang out with us and get on the YouTube channel now as well. So, T, are you with us, buddy?
I hear you. Hear me all right?
I can. What's going on?
Awesome. So I locked up first round bye in my playoffs a couple weeks ago. So I just want you guys to tell me that I'm not crazy. I've been starting Lamar Jackson all year long, but looking ahead to week 16, the semifinals.
Don't shoot. I know what he's going to do. I know what you're
Still, he's at Bengals.
No, I don't care.
Now we're playing the Steelers. You're still playing Lamar?
You're playing Lamar. We have to play Lamar. This is why people...
Are you in the bathroom, by the way?
That's
no,
very personal.
A smaller room at the office. Why? What's up? Is there?
No. I just wanted to make sure. It's a fantasy where your decision making is coming from. Was it in the bathroom, or was it something like that?
This is a nice way of saying
Not argue.
what he thinks about this decision that you're trying to make. But this is where people go wrong. We talked about this on the Waiver Wire show earlier, and I made a statement about, this is where people pick people off of the waiver wire, and then they want to throw them in their lineup right away over guys that have already been consistent in getting you everything, just because maybe we like this matchup just a little bit more. Typically, that does not end well. So this is hold on, wait. This is something like the same ilk, where Lamar Jackson's stats this year are off the chart. Winston's been fun. Yes, on paper it's a good matchup, but you will hate life if you go and start Winston and Winston somehow, craps the bed against the Bengals and Lamar's on your bench being Lamar, who's an MVP every single year. You can't do that stuff.
We had this exact situation come up twice. Once, I think it was we have another Discord show we don't put on YouTube on Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's myself and Andrew Erickson called The Extra Point. It's on the podcast feed. We had someone come in, and you got to forgive me, I don't remember if it was here or on the Sunday morning live stream, which Joey and I both host. But someone did this same thing with Winston. They said, I have Jalen Hurts But what do you think about Winston? And one of them on Sunday was about completions. We said no. Another one was this same idea of like Jalen Hurts off. Yeah, I get where you're going with it. But at the end of the day, you do have to be able to sleep at night. And these guys are there for a reason, even under performance. When you're in the play, and by the way, Jalen Hurts has more, I think, of a justification of like how their offense has looked than he has been as a passer to maybe make another. Lamar's not. Lamar is the most lock. Don't think about it. Don't even question. Don't even look at the quarterback rank. You know what?
No.
I wish we could IP address TV and just delete quarterback ranks from his team in his browser, so you can't even think about what
It comes from a good
Lamar Jackson, man.
It comes from a good place. Look, it comes from the place of I'm a diligent fantasy manager, Boggs, and that's okay. But you do need somebody to shake you sometimes and say, don't do this. This is going to be a bad decision. You're going to have a bad time.
It's
Lovingly
the point.
shake you.
Yeah, it's the point that you said earlier, Joe, and it's you can't look yourself in the mirror if you start Jameis Winston and he gets benched at halftime for throwing 2 pick sixes, and Lamar Jackson goes out there and has his first really great game against Pittsburgh. I understand the thought process, and it's a smart thought process of, look, the Bengals defense is miserable. Everybody's putting up points. Watch, Cooper Rush going to put up some points against the Bengals defense tonight. We're going to see it. So the Bengals defense is bad. Jameis Winston has been pretty good throwing the ball, and Lamar struggles, historically against Pittsburgh. I can't wake up the next day and have Lamar Jackson have gone for one of them Josh Allen games, and then Jameis Winston has been
at
halftime for throwing pick sixes.
You can, though, if that's your call. That's the other thing I just want to mention. Like, we're never going to tell you what to do. We'll give our advice.
Oh, no, I'm going to tell you what to
here.
do. Of course. I think you're nuts. If you started Lamar Jackson, Jameis Winston in front of Lamar Jackson, you're nuts. It's bad fantasy.
If that's what
Even if it works, it's the wrong decision. It's bad fantasy.
It is, but at the end of the day, look at your own self in the mirror. If that's a decision you're so heartfelt on, then you should do it. Not one person on this panel is going to tell you to do that, because we would never do that. But always follow your gut and your heart, because at the end of the day, you set your own team. We don't set.
Don't follow your gut or your heart. If your gut or your heart tells you to start Jameis Winston over Lamar Jackson, you should go to see a doctor as soon as possible, because something is internally wrong with you.
Right.
And I get why.
I don't think
that's why.
But this is where you can potentially look silly, Joe, because if Winston
No,
does outscore Lamar.
No, because it's bad process. It's bad fantasy. You don't sit the guy with 28 touchdowns and 3 picks, who's a 2-time MVP, for a guy who's just praying somehow that the Lord delivers him from pick sixes. You can't do that. You just can't do that. It's not good process. Even if it's, look, even the broken clock is right twice a day. Even the sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while. It doesn't matter. What you have to understand is, even if it should be that for that weirdness, it's a bad process, and it's going to lead more often than not to bad results. So you just can't.
I wonder what the graphics look like. The graphic.
We can only hope. By the way, shout out to the graphics team and the production team last week on Out of Balance. Incredible work last week. Unbelievable.
And I can't deny the fact that you like me.
By the way, the Ravens are 14.5 favorites this week against the Giants in New York. Just want to point that out there. It's still New York.
Catch up, by the way. We didn't talk about the Ravens, man.
We're gonna hold on. I want to talk about the Giants for a second, because did you see the OnlyFans thing? Because apparently one of the Giants players.
I bet Bogman did.
I'm sure Bogman did. But did you see what somebody hired an OnlyFans model to flash the Saints, and she did, and then somebody, I guess I would assume, leaks the conversation between the two of them about it.
Graphics team.
He's like, I'm not going to be. I'm not. Boys, this is why we shouted out the graphics team before we went into this topic. But I mean, I couldn't believe it. Somebody was trying to trace it recently to Tommy DeVito.
And I was like, who did it?
Nobody knows. But I was going to say, Boggs, that sounds about right to me, right? It feels like Tommy DeVito might be the kind of guy who could coerce a OnlyFans model into showing up to the Saints-Giants game in the cold.
Or worse. Yeah. Pay is the correct word. But yeah, I mean, that's it's a thing that I feel like it's happening more often.
So wait, it was to distract the kicker?
I don't know, but I mean, I will say the punter did get yelled at, so maybe it was the punter.
It was because whoever said it wanted to see her on the sideline.
I don't know. That's probably what it was. And all I know is that and also in that game, they also flew a banner over the stadium. Did you see that? to the owner, Mr. Mara,
Saw that.
to get rid of everybody and fix this dumpster fire team.
Please fix this dumpster fire.
Yeah, please fix this dumpster. I mean, that's pretty good. So New York Giants, God bless you. Kirk Cousins, man, I really believed. It was a tough Sunday for me. Thank goodness at night the Mets signed Juan Soto. It really turned my whole day around. It really saved my holiday season. But Kirk Cousins, 300 plus yards, another 2 interceptions, hasn't thrown a touchdown since, I don't know, since the 90s. I don't know. It's been a long time. So is Kirk Cousins done, Welsh? Is it time for Michael Penix? Are we going to see that change this week?
We should. Are we going to? I don't know. We're so close to the end of the season. I think it would make sense if they're not going to be fully committed to that. But at the same time, like, they drafted Penix and they signed Kirk Cousins. So, like, is logic super in play here? I would hope that they're going to make this change. Cousins doesn't look great. I mean, the passes to Drake London, the interception, I mean, LOL, Kyle Pitts, just in general. The whole thing is a big LOL fest. I would like to see Penix, but I just don't, unless they come out, and by the way, this might sound stupid after the fact, it airs a day later, and then they might come out and say, yep, Kirk Cousins is out and Penix. I just don't think we have anything to ride with that they are 100% going to go to Penix. I would not be shocked if we don't see him at all this year.
Here's the thing, Welsh. This is the conversation that's going on. It's saying, well, they're playing the Raiders this week, right? So you say, oh, it's an automatic W. You're 6-7. You get to 7-7. But you could also make the argument, Bodman, that maybe this is the perfect time to move to Penix and see what you got, because you probably should beat the Raiders regardless, with Desmond Ridder likely playing quarterback this week. Again, likely at the stage of the information we have.
The Raiders, though, that would be a bad, but Penix.
Maybe. But although Penix is more mobile,
Cousins can't move.
Cousins is a statue back there. So I guess the argument is this: you think you can make the playoffs still? Does Kirk Cousins give you the best chance to make the playoffs at this point?
I still think he does.
Okay.
But I think that he was rushed back. I don't think he should have started this season. And I think we're seeing why right now. He went through an Achilles tear. We didn't get medical upgrades that quickly to where he should have been able to come back week 1. He looked good and they let him go, but now the dude can barely move. And I think that's the issue with Kirk Cousins right now. I do think he still gives them the best chance to win, but you're not going to win with him. So might as well look at Penix. I don't think they're going to see it like that. I think they're going to just go ahead and roll Cousins, because they could potentially still trade Cousins. He is an asset, and there are not 32 caliber NFL starting quarterbacks in the league right now. So, there's a team that would probably end up wanting to try to trade for him, and then you can start Penix. But I think if you're going to do that, if you're even going to consider it, you should get Penix at least a couple starts at the end of the year to see what you're cooking with here.
Yeah, I think at some point you might just see him. All right, let's do the 3-1-1, a 300-yard passer, 100-yard rusher, and 100-yard receiver for the week. The point total stand as thus: Welsh still at the top at 15. I'm at 10 for the year, and Bogman's at 9. Welsh, again, at the catbird seat. You get to tell us who yours are for the week here.
Well, by the way, I might have 17 points because I have both Burrow and Chase going on Monday Night Football. We are recording this. Everybody learned that we record this on Monday by last week's show.
But Welsh wasn't mad about that at all, about last week at all.
Yeah, no. Well, just, again, Mason Garendo information, that's fine. Yeah. I get so. But I have Chase and I have Burrow, so this could be 17 points. A continued commanding lead we could possibly have. But for this week on the 3-1-1, give me the Brock Purdy on Thursday Night Football. Brock Purdy, a passing man, another running back down. All you can do is pass, and you can do that against the Rams. I love Juwan Jennings, as always, in that game. George Kittle is a monster. They're going to continue to pass. I think you could, Purdy got hurt, got knocked out for a second, but, if you were asking and curious, are they going to be able to throw the ball? They did. I think Ricky Pearsall can get involved in that. So I like Brock Purdy for the 300-yard passer. For the rusher, Chuba Hubbard. There's nobody else. We did not mention Jonathan Brooks. It wasn't an ACL tear, Boggs?
Yeah, ACL tear again.
Non-contact ACL tear. He is out. So what did we get in this past game? We had all the Chuba Hubbard. We're going to get more of it. And what can you do against Dallas? You can run. I believe it's the second most rushing yards given up on a per-game basis. It'll be all Chuba because the Panthers' offense is kind of running. And my wide receiver, well, back to the Niner game. But we're not going to, even though Jennings would be a great play, I'm going to go against the Niners Puka's going to destroy the 49ers. The secondary is bad. They're going to be throwing to Puka all day long, probably 10 catches. You know what? It's one of my favorites. I missed 3-1-1 perfect week by 5 yards of Matthew Stafford. I think this is the week. Just going to tell you guys, I'm going to do a pair down parlay of going like 280 or 275 on Purdy and go 80-80 with these two guys. And I'm going to cash it this week. 4-1 on my props and betting pros. I'm going to smash this parlay this week. So not only is there betting angle, but my 3-1-1, this will be the win that's going to lock me up 3-1-1 for the rest of the season. Purdy, Chuba, and Puka.
All right.
What week was that where you, real quick, what week was that where you barely missed, Welsh?
It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago with the Stafford was 5 yards short.
And what year was it that Uncle Rico could throw the ball a quarter mile?
It was
Thank
much
God.
further than 3 weeks ago.
1982.
Last
He's 1982. The last time Kirk Cousins threw a touchdown.
I
But
know 3 weeks ago, I'm an old man. Ooh, look at me.
I did as well. I'm living in the past. I lived off our past.
Miguel Estevez over here. All right.
hey, kid.
Minor.
One time I cashed a bet in 1984. He was a beautiful dad.
Let me see your nail.
Mine are not good, but I did get 2 last week. So, man, if I would have just got 32 more yards from Mike Evans, I would have been right there. But Joe Burrow at Tennessee. Tennessee, run defense good, pass defense bad. Pretty simple formula right there. Let's go with Bijan against the Raiders. The Raiders are terrible. Bijan is awesome. He's getting way more carries right now than Tyler Algier, although he did get vultured this week, which is super annoying. But we're going to go with Bijan. And I'm going to take Cortland Sutton against the Colts because he's the only guy that Bo Nix wants to throw the ball. Well, stuck right now. Gets like 10 to 15 targets every single game. So let's go with Cortland Sutton. So I will be wrong on probably all of these. Don't listen to me. I'm not good at these competitions.
I almost took Sutton, so I don't think you're going to be wrong with that one. All right, for me, again, I also still have Chase tonight, so we'll see how that goes. Goff going against the Bills. I think that's going to be fun, so let's take a friend with him. Let's take Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then Derrick Henry running amok on the Giants. The Giants are done. They have quit. It is over. And it is going to get uglier in that stadium this week than it was. Speaking of which, calling touchdowns, I'm also going with Derrick Henry for my touchdown call. I'm so bummed that I didn't get one from Saquon. Boo. So I'm stuck at 6. Welsh is stuck at 6. Bogman, you're at 8, so you're at the top of the board. And you are also taking Derrick Henry this week, so I'm not going to be able to gain any ground on you.
Do you want to switch? I'm not moving.
No, you're at the top. I think I might just keep pace with you, and then right at the end, just kind of pounce on you like week 17, 18, just
I'm going to
overtake.
give you a Derrick Henry stiff arm because you can't gain any ground on me this week. So there you go.
Yeah. But, the good news is if we, both hit it, then we'll both separate from the Welsh even more. So, Welsh, who are you taking for your...
I want to point
Point
out
of his?
I had Jordan Mason last week, and I forgot to say, I should have been grandfathered to Garindo, but, I guess if the listeners couldn't,
grandfather to
understand the-
Durende. This is not a...
Yeah,
It's not a progressive rock band from the 90s, I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks.
They opened for REM in Macon, Georgia, I think. Was.
All right, would you like to? Why don't you? Since you're talking for me, why don't you give my touchdown call then?
Still hung up on the whole Garindo Mason thing. I want you to get past it. We recorded a show last week, and Welsh was upset because we were so excited about Mason, and then it turned out not to be true. And it's okay. Things happen. We recorded Monday. The news came out late Monday, and the show didn't come out till Tuesday. What are we going to do? This is life. Things happen.
You're in the big box, Joe. Why don't you give my?
I am in the big box. I'm in the big box with my nails painted. So
Brian Robinson Jr. There you go.
Brian Robinson. That's a good one. I like the Brian Robinson.
Who are they playing?
New Orleans Saints giving up 15 touchdowns to running backs now over the last 9 weeks. It was the Tracy call from last week. There you go.
See, I mean, come on. I'm just teasing you. We're having fun. Let's talk about what's trending here. What's trending is the Taylor Swift Eras Tour came to an end this weekend. Now, my daughters now have nothing to do with the rest of their lives. I don't know what they're going to do. To be honest with you, they check that thing every 5 minutes. So it made $2 billion.
Check it.
I don't like the same thing. What do you check?
There was
Still like a Santa thing?
Bro, first of all, there's a nightly contest where you choose what outfit she's going to wear, what song she's going to sing in this set and these things. And it's a thing that they compete against each other. It's like fantasy Taylor Swift.
Is it
It's a whole thing. You guys don't... Wow, I'm surprised you don't know about this. You've got a young daughter. She's not doing this. Okay. She's a little younger than mine. Mine are in that teenage realm, so it's different. But if you got a teenage daughter out there in your house and she's a Swiftie, chances are she's been doing this. Over 1 million people were watching this live on like someone streaming it from a TikTok onto an IG account or some crazy crap like that. So with that being said, it's the end of an era. Whose NFL era is coming to an end in 2024? Well, she got anybody that you think the era is coming to an end for?
The Dallas Cowboys. How about you get that big old contract or Dak Prescott? They don't have a viable running game anymore. CeeDee Lamb is banged up. They've got no other help there. Dak looks broken. The defense is trying to be held on by one little Micah Parsons string. There's nothing else there. The great Cowboy, 90s franchise, but it had really started to bounce back when things were looking really strong. And I just think that this team needs a big old overhaul. And you know what? I think Cowboy fans would kind of agree. So if you want to era's breakdown, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, saving some clear-cut other ones for you. And I could have said the Niners, but they just beat the Bears by...
I don't think the Niners era is over. I think they're going to be right back in it and competitive next year. This is the Super Bowl hangover. Boggs, whose era is over?
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' era is over. He's going to quit playing football, and no one's going to care about him anymore, and it's going to be great.
Do you think he just disappeared?
Right around Netflix.
Well, Sarah, it's that is going to come out, and that's going to be the last that we hear of Aaron Rodgers. No one's going to care about him after.
I'd love to say was
got to be done playing. I think he's got to be done playing. He's not good anymore. He, got everybody fired. He's a coach killer at this point. Who wants to coach him? And why does he want to keep playing and keep getting beat up to keep winning 4 games a year? So, I think Aaron Rodgers is done.
Speaking of Netflix documentaries, I don't think it was on Netflix. It's actually on Prime. I watched It's in the Game documentary about the history of the Madden franchise.
I want to see that.
I want to watch that.
Very good. I watched it. Very cool. Super interesting, especially about how influential John Madden was into the design of the game. Originally, they even approached him because it was really hard to make the game. Like, can we do 7-on-7? And he almost threw them off the train. He's like, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. He's like, that's not football. You got to have 7 guys playing football. And he's like yelling at this poor developer, like on a train. It's magic.
We're not making NFL Blitz.
Well, I mean, and then back and forth about the different games too, like the NFL 2K era versus Madden, and then Blitz. Like, it was for us who all grew up with those video football games and saw the evolution from like Madden 95 to 2005 to what it is now. It's amazing.
Pettis was on 95, wasn't he? He had just gone from the Rams to the Steelers. I think.
Yep, 96. Game day 96.
Was it?
Game day.
No, not game day.
Madden always had Madden on until 2001. I think they were saying
that was Terrell Davis.
No, that was Eddie George.
Terrell Davis.
Eddie George. Eddie George was the first one. Good job. Good job. Well, that was a good poll right there, Eddie George.
That is.
But seriously, watch it. Fantastic stuff. Also, end of an era. It's the end of the Joe Shine and Brian Dable era in New York. It's over. Like, these guys can't survive this. I'm sorry. I thought they might be able to a couple weeks ago, but it has just disintegrated so poorly over these last couple of weeks where the team is just so bad. And now the fan base.
Everybody's hurt too. Like,
it is. But I mean, the Saints, everybody's hurt too, and they're giving it the college try.
It's arguable that it's not their fault, but I don't think at this point it matters anymore.
I don't
like they just made the wrong decision backing Daniel Jones, and the rest is history, as they say.
Quarterback, you have it or you don't. Last thing here, the guy who bet $3 million on the Eagles, and boy, oh boy, what a sweat that was. So Welsh, we always talk about,
he get 1.5 at least, on that ball.
I mean, let's talk about that because, we all sweat like little tiny bets and things like that. And it's funny, but it's not funny. $3 million is a lot of money. I don't care if you're a millionaire. It's still a lot of money. What do you think that was like to watching the Panthers, like, especially towards the end of that game, start to get close again? Because that team just does not quit. You got to give it to them.
No. I had a bet with the Eagle. I had the Bryce Young under passing yards, by the way, which one completion would have ended that one last completion. And I had the Eagles in a parlay on the money line. But first off, he doesn't owe them 1.5 because that $3 million was only to net like $350,000. So he bet that to net just a wildly low number. I think it's crazy, but like to bet $3 million, what is that equivalent to for this guy? Because if you were betting a high amount that's way above your your normalcy, you're not really doing it to a minus 700 money line type of bet. You're betting it like, I got a great feeling. I'm going money line. It's even money. I'm betting, $10,000. That's life-changing money to me. For a guy to be comfortable betting $3 million to net only 350,000, I say with air quotes, that's got to be chump change where if he lost it, he's just like, he chalks it up to the game. I don't know if that's a sweat better to make that type of bet. If it makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It actually does make sense, Box.
But still, I mean, you bet $3 million expecting no issues, and then there are issues. And that it's just not a thing you should do in the NFL. Jerry Glanville taught us this a long time ago. The NFL stands for not for long. So, Jalen Hurts gets injured in that game, and now all of a sudden you have Kenny Pickett coming in. I don't know.
Yeah, but the Panthers almost beat the Chiefs. The Panthers have been covering everything the last 3. Like, to me, that was the worst one. If you were going to bet somebody to get their ass kicked this past week, I think there were actually better choices. And I'm being frank about it. I mean, looking at home, even Minnesota would have been one where I'm like, okay, a Tampa at home against Vegas. Like, I understand that O'Connell got hurt in that game and a lot of things. I mean, but I don't know. The way the Carolina Panthers have been playing, they've been really plucky and annoying.
It's a college bet. That's a college bet on the money line when Clemson is playing Louisiana for the Blazers or whatever. A Panthers.
They have the hand signals on that team are so good, though, the way they communicate.
They are. Speaking of hand signals, you know what you should have done?
What?
Should have put that money on the Niners. That'd have been a great bet.
There it is. All right, everybody.
Joe, do you have any hand signals for Welsh at the end of the show?
I got one.
Basic cream.
Because it's all the money that I lost on the Bears. That's what it is. All right. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Fun times as always. Thanks for joining us on our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. Again, you can listen to the show. You can watch the show on YouTube or, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget FP free. That's the code when you download the Betting Pros app. So you could get 30 free days of the best betting tools on the planet. Do it now. College football playoffs around the corner. God, that bracket looks so fun. Alabama's not in it. What a time to be alive. Juan Soto's a Met. Boy, oh boy, sports are great. If you love sports, I love sports.
Get that Aaron Rodgers cigar out there, if you know what I mean.
Oh, well,
The one we had.
This is my Juan Soto cigar. I was smoking it on the show earlier. We did the MLB show. We did a little Soto talk for about 20 minutes. It was a beautiful thing. And
that's the Aaron Rodgers in 2 years. That's the most we'll see of him right there.
Probably. I would love to say he goes away and fades away. I don't think we're that lucky. That being said, we're going to fade away. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.